Good morning, BCS students. I first of all want to say I want to thank the Lord for teaching at a school that allows me to talk about my Savior anytime I want to, and they actually integrate it into our lessons. This lesson is going to be English, lesson 145. In your workbook, that's page 283. And if you notice throughout this chapter 15, the theme has been lighthouses. And so I put my collection of lighthouses out here for you. One of my favorites is this one because it says, "Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven," Matthew 5:16. You see, God has called us as children of God to be the light to the people of the world who can't find happiness, they can't find peace, and they can't find joy in their life. And God has called us as Christians to be that lighthouse, to shine peace and joy out of us so that when people see our lives, they'll be hungry for what we have and we can minister to them about Jesus as the lighthouse. Another one of our lighthouses we got when we went to Kauai, Hawaii. I just want to tell you, I think Hawaii is beautiful, but I'm happy here in Florida. You can visit it. It has beautiful mountainsides. God has just done amazing things all over this world. And this one is from Jupiter, Florida. My husband and I actually walked up the steps of this lighthouse. Let me tell you, it's a whole lot easier going up those steps than it is coming down those steps because of the tight place it's in. But so on the weekends, sometimes we just like to go find a lighthouse and just reminisce about the wonderful things about lighthouses. You see, when they created lighthouses, it was because there were ships in the dark and they didn't want the ships had to come to land and they didn't want them to run into the rocks part of the land, so they would guide them to where they could park their boat. And so Jesus guides you where you can park your boat. Our personal church is called the Harbor, so you can come and park your life and get filled up and go back out and do a work for God. So that's my praise this morning for being able to work at a school that brings Christ into their lessons. So we're going to talk about, on page 283, independent clauses. And if you would read with me at the top, an independent clause has a subject and a predicate. It expresses a complete thought and can stand alone in a sentence. Subject, many lighthouses. Predicate, are open to the public. A fragment is a group of words that does not express a complete thought. A fragment is not a sentence because it's missing either a subject or a predicate. The tower on the lighthouse is a fragment because it's missing a predicate. Built on the rocks. It's missing a subject. We don't know what is built on the rocks. So now let's do guided practice together. Decide whether each group of words is an independent clause or a fragment. Remember, independent means it can stand alone. It has a subject and a predicate. Fragment means it's missing something or it's torn apart. The Split Rock Lighthouse overlooks Lake Superior. Do we have a who? We do. Do we have what it does? We do. So this is an independent clause. Number 2, have visited the lighthouse. Would this be an independent clause or would you consider this a fragment? Well, you have to ask yourself, who visited the lighthouse? We don't have a subject, so that makes it a fragment, correct? Number 3, tourists often visit the lighthouse. Do we have a subject? We do. Do we have something they do? They often visit. So that would be an independent clause. Number 4, a tower 54 feet high. Well, it is a tower and it's 54 feet high, but it's not really doing anything. So it would be, you got it, fragment. Number 5, are shorter than this lighthouse. What's shorter than this lighthouse? Well, we don't know, so that's a fragment. Write an independent clause by adding a subject or a predicate to each fragment. An old ship. What do you think an old ship would do? Well, an old ship might sail again if it was corrected, if it was fixed, or an old ship might be torn up into firewood. Failed during a storm. What failed during a storm? Possibly a tree. Visit the lighthouse. Who visits the lighthouse? Mr. and Mrs. Rhodes visit the lighthouse. Now you can turn to page 284. You can finish the independent clause worksheet on your own. I want you to remember what a predicate is and a prepositional phrase. That's just for review. Finish that today, and I'll see you tomorrow with your next lesson.